I was crossing the road and some guy didn't have his lights on, so I yelled at him about 4 times. And then he rolled down his window, turned on his lights, and said, "Thank you, bro." Um, so I hope I don't get in trouble for yelling. Alright, so this is a story of how I got rescued by a 14-year-old girl. Now, sure, Logan was able to prevent me from getting assaulted and also able to prevent me from getting stabbed. And that's not the only stuff he's done here. He's working a real job. Now, what's that got to do with a 14-year-old girl rescuing me here in Hood River? Well, the 14-year-old girl did not rescue me in the same way that Logan did. She did not rescue me from physical violence. Some of the drugs around here have different names than I'm used to. But when a man walked up and was trying to ask a 14-year-old girl for blues, I didn't know what the hell he was talking about. Now, this 14-year-old girl, she was aware that I have Tourette syndrome, and she was aware that I'm autistic, and she also has friends who are autistic. The reason for this is because the folks at the Astro station have been good to me, and she's friends with one of the people who works there, and most of them, they're all related, so it's kind of like living in Tennessee, I suppose, at that gas station. All right, it ain't like that, but, it's a family-run gas station. So this guy comes up, and he's asking for blues, and she tells him no. And then he starts asking me, and I'm trying to mind my own business. I'm trying to stay out of everyone's way. I'm trying to stay out of everyone's hair. And I'm just trying to ignore this guy. I don't want nothing to do with the situation, And I felt that she had it handled and she had it covered. And if I needed to speak up, then she'd let me know, or it would be obvious. So I let that 14-year-old girl handle her stuff. She told that man, "Aw, all right, I don't like it when people do this. If you're going to go through the ashtrays, at least put it back together when you're done. That's just rude." All right. Anyway, so she told him like 3 or 4 times to leave me alone, that I didn't have anything, that I didn't mess with anything, that I wasn't interested in anything. And then that's when the lady who works there came over and said, "Sir, it's time for you to leave." She was about to call the cops on him. So that was one of 2 creepy situations that happened that day. Now, that 14-year-old girl and that lady who was working at the Astro that night, or that day, they got to help me avoid a situation, because at that point in time I wasn't really, I didn't really have the ability to defend myself in that situation. As far as the situation went, the lady who was in charge of the property was the lady who was working there at the time. And of course, when he was addressing me, it was a situation where I was not capable of dealing with it at that point. I was just trying to pretend it wasn't happening. Hello. So I'm not always that aloof or under a situation where I'm stressed out enough already that I can't really handle the situation. But I'm glad that at that current point in time that both of those people were there to to help me to avoid any conflict or any troubles or any potential violence. The real kicker there, after all the time I spent on the streets, a 14-year-old girl knew more about drugs in the area than I do. A 14-year-old girl knew what blues were, and I didn't. Anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and end this video because I gotta go find a place to take a leak and not get caught. Speaking of not getting caught, it's good to be rid of you. Thanks for coming to visit. Stay out of trouble or don't get caught. Remember, you are your brother's keeper and no victim left behind.